Good evening, people, and welcome back to Where the Owls Sleep. It's Sunday sessions all over again. How's it going, Stocks? You're a happy man this weekend. There's a shirt on and everything. How are you doing?
Yes, it's taking. Oh yeah, mate, it's been a cracking week. It's taken hours to actually find a West Ham shirt.
I know you don't normally wear them, so it's interesting to see you back in the West Ham shirt. And there's a reason behind that this week. Let's bring in the first man, Samir. How are you doing? You was all smiles in the background. Stocky got into a new outfit. Why were you?
I was shaking my head. I was shaking my head. As soon as I saw it, my jaw dropped. I was like, "Oh wait, wait a minute, you weren't wearing that a second ago." You weren't wearing that a second ago, and then all of a sudden, man, that's shocking stuff.
Oh, mate, I'm telling you, as soon as I removed you all from the screen, I see Stocky getting changed at the bottom.
That's horrible. That is horrible.
Well, welcome back. We've also got John. I'm hoping he's there because I can't see his picture, but Stocky's disappeared as well now. John, are you there? No, I think John's having some technical issues at the minute. But we have got John, the Southampton fan. I'm guessing is not going to be very happy either. As soon as he jumps back in, we'll get his view on this weekend. But we might as well roll straight into it. Results from this weekend's football. It's been a bit of a mad one. I think it might have been Sky Sports showed a little image that only, I think it was 3 of the top 10, top half of the table won this weekend, which is crazy when you think about it. And all apart from the bottom 3, I think it was, in the bottom half won.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a mad weekend when you look at it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say it's a shame about the 3 because I can't remember. It's a few years on the bandstand that the 3 getting promoted and the 3 going back down.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. It did look a few weeks ago that one of them might get out of it, but I feel that they have now been cut adrift a little bit, and it's going to be hard for them to do so.
Yeah.
John's back.
Mm.
John's back. Perfect timing as we're talking about relegation battles. He's still having trouble.
He doesn't want to talk about it.
So the weekend started off Friday evening, where Brentford basically took Leicester apart, which is sort of what was happening week in, week out for Ruud van Nistelrooy's Leicester at the minute. Did any of you catch that?
No, I didn't. I was out on the Friday.
No. I'll be honest and say I tuned into Burnley.
Why?
Rather downbeat Gary Lineker on Match of the Day this morning. And Brentford took them apart. And it, when people just do it at will, and sneaky on the Rory this year. Damsgaard's had a really good season.
Yeah,
cheeky little ball around the corner for Wissa.
He's finally showing consistent form, like he showed glimpses. Was it a Euros or a World Cup a few years back?
Yeah.
They signed him off the back of. He looked class then, and he's starting to show it week in, week out now, which is good to see, to be fair.
Yeah. I think there's a player there.
Yeah, so, yesterday morning, 12:30 kickoff, Everton Man U. Man U is still terrible. How they ended up with a draw. They basically only played for about 10 minutes of the game. And other than that, Everton could have had 3 or 4. But, the downfall of Man United, what is going on? When they were 2-0 down, I was thinking they're genuinely in a relegation battle. Genuinely in a relegation battle. If Ipswich had won, you could look at it and think there's a possibility here.
Yeah.
But luckily for them, the rest of the results this weekend went against them. But it's just a terrible, terrible side. What are you guys thinking of Amarin at the minute?
I'm not even a fan right now. Honestly, I think like there's too many Man United fans as well saying it's not the manager, it's not the manager, it's the players, and I'm looking at it thinking, nah, I just think he's stubborn, and it's just like he ain't fixing anything. Like you look at David Moyes and how he's had to like play with use like the players that the former managers had, and he's changed things around. He's changed the style. He's changed the way Everton approach games, and that's all you need really. And Amarin hasn't like changed nothing for United. I think he's even worse than Ten Hag. He might be worse than Ten Hag.
Well, it
Like
is. It's factually worse. Like the stats, the performances, everything is down
yeah,
since he. Well, apart from obviously losses have gone up, but
yeah,
everything else, everything positive has gone down since he came in.
mm,
And it's one of them. He's just too stubborn for his own good. I think he just
yeah,
wants to play one system and his system, and that's it. And
Mm.
he doesn't want to just sort of suffer the fact that he's going to have to change the way he wants to play to try and win
mm,
football matches at the minute. And that's the number one goal of a football manager at the end of the day.
yeah.
What are you
Nah,
thinking, John? Are
Yeah.
you back with
What
us?
do you think about?
Yeah, I think so. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we've got you.
Sweet, awesome. I think with Amarim, I think because at the minute I was with the formation stuff later. I was going to ask this anyway, but do you think we're kind of getting to a point now where there's managers that are too stubborn and will only play one system, and they're not necessarily coming in and looking at what they've got and actually just saying, "This is what I'm going to have to do: bed in for 6 months,
mm,
and then in the summer kind of start again."
yeah,
I do think it is because I hear a lot of managers these days go in with like PowerPoints of how they're going to play, what they're going to do,
Yeah,
their philosophy on things to try and sell themselves to get jobs. And it does feel a little bit like once they've got the job, they stick to it because of that fact,
mm,
rather than just thinking
yeah.
every now and again, you know what, I've got to change this until I get the players I can do it with.
yeah.
We had a manager fairly recently that did a Q&A night with the supporters, basically to explain his tactics.
Oh God.
And it kind of very much came across as that, like, talking to the paupers and just sort of like, you must understand my brilliance. I'm sure you could guess who I'm talking about, but my
Yeah.
favourite man in world football.
I know you're also loving the Man United downfall stocks. What are your thoughts on him? I think
Yeah. I thought he was going to have to. I thought he was going to have to suffer to make him better, but they're suffering and not getting any better.
Mm.
I mean, they're fortunate they didn't like lose in the end because seen them given. If it's the other way
Oh, we
around,
need to
would
talk about
Man
that.
United get it?
Yeah, we need to talk about that.
100%.
Yeah, I think because if the ref hadn't given it on field, I feel that it would have been one that didn't get overturned and given by VAR. But because the ref has given it on
Yeah.
field, I thought we should have gone the other way again. So that he shouldn't have been told to review it because he'd given it on field. He hadn't missed
Nah,
anything. There was a foul there. Like I
no.
don't care if they
It was
think
a
it's
foul.
enough. There was a
Yeah,
foul, so
Mm.
it's not clear
yeah.
and obvious.
That's my
If the
thing.
Mm.
shirts, I've got
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the way if you look at it, I think it's the way Ashley Young has gone down. But and I get that, but you see that all the time. You see it with players like Jota and stuff like that, diving and crap. But I just think like with Maguire, he's been caught in 4K. Like you can see him grabbing him,
yeah.
and I think what's his name? Delit's got a shirt pull as well on the other side of Ashley Young's body. So there's two men grabbing him, and yes, the way he's dived, but still he's been pulled back. He's been held back, and
It's hard to argue he's not going to get to the loose ball like, without the shirt tugs. So.
yeah,
Yeah, 100%. And once the ref's given it on field for me, I don't feel it's one that should be overturned.
exactly. When do you ever see him overturned?
Yeah.
Like especially when the referee's giving them and like how they've made him go and look at the screen and stuff. I've never seen anything like that. That's just should have been a pen, and I don't get how he's overturned that.
Yeah, it's a crazy one.
We've done lots of talk on our other one
What's that?
about like trying to re-referee the game,
Mm.
Yeah,
and they're trying to stop it, and that's exactly what they've done.
Yeah,
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
Right, we started off. We're still down the bottom end. So, John, you're back in. You was at the game yesterday. We've spoke about Leicester's 4-0 to Brentford. Sorry to put you in it, but what are your
So
thoughts on Southampton Brighton?
it's I don't know. It's not a fun time, is it, to be a Saints fan? I'm pretty sure, Mitch, you can remember a time when it was like that
Yeah.
as a Newcastle fan. I mean, we're talking about setups today as well. And it's Juric. I've given a little bit of leeway to in a way because I think what he inherited and the way that group of players were being told to play and so on. And I think when he first came in, the positives were we stopped hemorrhaging chances for a few games. I still think we're bad at both ends of the pitch. I think creating chances is a continual issue. We just look, I mean, we just look so easy to play against still. Brighton, honestly, I won't say the scoreline flattered them, that's not the case at all, but they've managed to win 4-0 away from home without really getting out of first gear. And there's too many teams that have done that with us this year. Get points tallies like Derby and all this. I think this is the worst Premier League side, but by a distance. So simple. I think take Aaron Ramsdale out of it and take Matty Fernandez out of it. Everyone else is completely they've given up. Like it's we're Joe Aribo starting at centre half. We've got fullbacks playing at centre back. It's all over the place. It's complete. And then the worst bit is I'm over Chelsea Tuesday night as well. So suffering through it even more. But I left at 70 minutes, which is something I never ever do. But there was actually a bottleneck queue to get out, and that was after we conceded the third. And you just feel like the apathy is just top to bottom through the club. The fans aren't angry anymore. They just don't give a shit. It's the only way you could sweat it.
Wow.
And I'm predicting our Premier League leaving drinks will probably be at West Ham Easter weekend. Looking at the table and the way the fixtures pile up. Yes, sir.
That's not a good place for that to happen, to be fair.
Yeah, there's no pubs anywhere near the ground. You've got to walk about 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah, I saw the goals as they were going in, and it as you said earlier, it's a picture I've seen before of players that look like they don't want to be putting in effort. That extra bit of effort you need to stay up. They're just like, yeah, this is happening. There's not really much we can do about it, and they're just surrendering to it from what I've seen.
Yeah, massively.
Yeah.
And I think there's one or two of them that are looking at it and going, not sure I want to get injured because I don't want to do myself out of a particular move or whatever. And you can see that with one or two. There's a couple that were putting in a lot of effort. And since the end of the transfer window, performances have been very different in terms of intensity.
Yeah. It's a tough one. But it's a massive jump up from the Championship these days. As Stocky was saying, I'm not even sure if it was before we came on or just after we started, that it's the second season in a row that it looks like the three that have come up are just going to go straight back down. And there's not really that much of a fight either. Disappointing to see. Hopefully someone can come up and bridge that gap a little bit. And because it's good to have new faces consistently and stay in the Prem. So it'd be good if teams could start bridging the gap. But I think it does show the difference in the money is crazy. Right, there's no point talking about this. Let's go on to the main event. Stocky's got his shirt on. Samir is highly disappointed. Is that result and today's result with Liverpool winning at Man City for the first time in about 10 years, is that title done?
Yes. 100% yes. That what I saw from Liverpool today was just, who to be fair, City are not that great, but like if you could do that to City, like I don't see anyone else pretty much like taking much points off them. We've had Villa who tried, we've had City who tried, but you got you next. I don't know if Like if you will put up a fight, but
We never win at Anfield. Let's not even put hope on that. We never, ever, ever win at Anfield.
there we have it. Then that's it. Yeah, you got to give it to Liverpool, innit? You got to be honest and just like give it to them. They are a strong side, and like I look at them, I don't think they have like the best squad. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on what it is with Liverpool, because every game I look at them, I think, oh, like before the game, I think, yeah, they could lose it, they could lose this, they could lose this, and they haven't lost. They ain't lost since God knows when. I think I was like Nottingham Forest, like second game of the season or something.
It might be quite simplistic to say it, but isn't it just Slot has found a way to make sure that Salah produces and he gets the opportunity to produce every single week? Because every week it's Salah goals, Salah assists. It, it's tough to say that they're a one man team, but going forward and scoring goals, pretty much everything comes through Salah. He does like.
Yeah,
I'd be shocked if his goals and assists he isn't involved in from one of them aspects 60-70% of their goals. I'd be shocked if it's not.
yeah, I'd say it's roughly around them as well. To be fair, because I
So
don't know second
yeah,
to him in the goal scoring chart.
that's a crazy volume, and he's found a way that he doesn't have to run as much, so he can just be that prolific going forward. And
Yeah,
fair
I
play to
think
him.
I think that's the difference between Arsenal and Liverpool. I look at it. It's that they got Salah, we don't. Like our Salah, I put it's Saka probably, and Saka being out, like
I
it's
would say
put
I would say they're quite a bit more solid than you as well. I think you're quite easy to get at times.
at times, yeah, but like I reckon if we had our front three, I think we would have put in a bit of a better fight than this. Like after January, this is it's not looking good at all. But I think if we had our main players, I think we would have been much closer.
Right, but before we actually talk about the game, I've got one question for you.
Mm.
Are you starting to look at Arteta and think maybe he's not the guy?
No,
No?
hell no, no, hell no. I personally think the board's let him down. And anyone else that says it's Arteta's fault is stupid, because if you look at him during, I think it was before, like at the end, he every press conference he's just saying, "Listen, we're short. We've lost Jesus for the rest of the season. Saka's out till March, April." And he's just every press conference, yeah, we're looking to sign someone. We want to sign someone bad. Like he's desperately crying for a player, because he sees what we see. Like we are lacking at the front. Like midfield were right, defense were right, but the front three were lacking. We didn't, like, everyone's looking at it thinking we need a striker now, and that's it. Now we needed a striker and a winger. But I think the board have just gone, you know what, Liverpool have won the title. We'll wait till next season, because like it's by the sounds of it, everything's all happening next season,
Hmm.
and I don't get it. I don't blame Arteta at all, not
Doesn't
one
it
bit.
roll back to him though, that type of thing? Because he's been stockpiling DMs and centre backs and full backs, and he's just been buying. How many strikers has he bought in his whole time there? He's bought what, two? Like,
Yeah, yeah. No,
is he
when it
not
comes,
involved in that process? Is he not screaming
yeah,
out for a striker?
when it comes to that, then yeah, signing strikers and stuff like that, yeah, it is on him. But like, it's not like Arsenal's collapsed and gone flipping fourth or something. Like let's remember, we are. It's not like the best positions, but we are still second. And
I get that, but you've gone from challenging City
yeah,
to City falling off,
yeah, and
and now you're getting demolished by Liverpool. You're not even challenging them; they've gone. They've got 11 games left, and they're 11 points clear.
yeah,
Like if someone had said at the beginning of the season that City at this point in time are going to be sat fourth, but
mm.
Liverpool are still going to be top of the league, Arsenal fans would be like, nah.
I was one of them. I was one of them saying hell no. I was like, nah, because I'm looking at City the whole way through. I was just up until about December. I'm saying nah. Liverpool are gonna fall off. I'm looking at City, just City. But yeah, they surprised us. And to be fair, like I'm looking at stats and stuff like that. Everyone seems to forget that Liverpool were actually still in the title race this time last year. Liverpool were top of the league, so it's not. It shouldn't be that much of a shock. That they are actually top of the league right now. But I don't
Nah,
know. I don't blame Arteta too much. I'll go back to that. I don't blame him too much. Maybe on the like not signing a striker point, but he's obviously looked at Havertz and thought he's getting his goals now and then, and we don't need a striker. But yeah, I don't know.
All right, fair enough. Stocky's just rejoining. John, what were your thoughts on it on the game yesterday? If you saw it, I'm guessing you didn't because you was at Southampton. But also on the Arteta thing.
From what I saw of the highlights, I don't know. Yeah, the Arteta thing is a weird one because I go back to that. I think it wasn't just January that you needed a forward. You know, it was in the summer as well. I just find it mad that you didn't go and get one.
Mm.
I read something. I don't know how accurate this is. Samir, you might be able to help me with this.
Mm.
Is it that he spent something like 800 million since in the time that he's been in charge? Is that can't be right, can it?
Close enough. I don't know. Yeah, close enough to be fair. Yeah, close enough to about 800 mil.
Because I sort of worry with Arteta that I don't think you're ever going to win a league with him in charge.
I don't think we're ever going to win a league ever. It doesn't matter who's in charge.
But if you weren't going to do it in the last 2 years, I don't think you ever can.
Mm.
But I think that might have something to do. I don't know. I think there's other managers out there that would have got you over the line, or got you in this case a hell of a lot closer.
Yeah, I think so. Probably someone more experienced, I'd say. Someone more experienced, but yeah, he has spent a lot of money. I'd say that. But I look at it as in he spent a lot of money to like change the whole squad because he had to change a lot when he came in for Emery. It weren't like to add on to the squad. It was to completely wipe the squad and bring in a fresh 11, a fresh bench, and you probably need that and more if you're starting a new team and want to clear out and bring in new players. So I don't look
What do
at
you make of the red card?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. So I missed the.
Prime Arsene Wenger's coming out now.
I watched the first half, but I didn't see the second half. Man, I had to go somewhere, but yeah, it's
Fair enough.
I didn't see the red card, but I'm hearing it was a red card.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Yeah. Stocky, over to you. Your moment. How does it feel for the second season in a row to put the final nail in Arsenal's title hopes? It's becoming a bit of a regular thing, isn't it?
It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling because
feeling.
Oh well, it's just what we do. We don't want to be good ourselves, but we just want to spoil it for everyone.
That's a hater right there. That is a hater right there.
I think we're losing your stocks. I don't know where you're sat this week. It looks like the same spot, but your connection ropey. Yeah, we'll have to pick it back up when you jump back on.
We don't need to hear from him. That's what I thought about Arsenal.
Yeah, he can have his little bit when he comes back on. We might as well roll into this for now. League table. So it pretty much looks done or thereabouts at the bottom. Ipswich have now got 5 points to Wolves. To be fair, there's still 12 games to go. Ipswich are less than 5 points adrift. It's possible, but 5 points down is quite the gap. And I still think Wolves are a pretty decent side, to be fair. So
yeah, I think the bottom three are all just hemorrhaging goals for fun, and Wolves are like the only team down there that are likely to get results. I think a couple of weeks' time they're coming to ours as well, so that should give them a nice little buffer. So yeah, I think the three that are there are done.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, I think that is the case because if maybe a Man United was a little bit closer, you could be looking at them, but I don't think anybody else is going to drop into that, to be fair. Outside of that, we've just already spoke about Liverpool title, pretty much done. 11 points. They've only got 11 games left, although Arsenal have got 12. The Champions League race, now that is hotting up massively. So Newcastle's win against Forest today means that from Forest in third to Brighton, you could probably even say Fulham in 10th, is only 8 points.
That's scary.
Which is crazy. So we've now got 7 teams fighting it out for 3 Champions League spaces. Then you're going to have a Europa League and a Conference League space on that. There might even be an extra one that rolls down.
Mm.
What are your thoughts on that? Who would you put? I'm going to go John first. Who would you go as your favourites? Let's go top 5 to fill them last 3 spaces in the top 5. What would you say?
City take one. As bad as they've been in the past, they'll be okay. I fancy Chelsea to find like an upturn in form from somewhere, because I feel like Maresca did a similar thing with Leicester last year. He started off brilliantly. They hit a massive, massive wall, and then towards the end they kind of recovered. I think Chelsea will sneak their way in, and I would say beyond that, it's a straight shootout between you guys and Villa for me. I'd like to think it'd be you guys.
Okay. So on that, you've potentially got Forest finishing 7th by the sounds of things.
Yeah, I don't know if they're sustaining it.
Okay.
Yeah.
To be fair, I was just asking because I kind of agreed. I had them. We did predictions around game 19, and I had them 7th or 8th at the time. And yeah, I think their fall off is coming. I don't think the way they play is sustainable. Same as Bournemouth for different reasons. Like Bournemouth pretty much score every shot on goal they have, which is just a joke. And Forest have the stat. I can't remember exactly what it was. They're the only team in the top 14 that have faced more shots than they've had this season, or something like that.
To be fair, that is mental.
Yeah, they've conceded more shots than they've had on goal themselves this season, and they're 3rd in the table, which is bonkers.
I can see him sliding out of it.
Yeah,
I don't think Fulham have got the firepower up front to sustain an actual charge for any of the European places. I think they'll finish round about where they are now. Brighton, still not sure I trust them at the back to getting up. Well, to getting up. Villa, yeah, like I say, Villa and Chelsea, I see. Bournemouth, I think, will fade away. Possibly like a Conference League spot or something for Bournemouth.
Yeah. I tend to agree. I think we'll nick one. I think City nick one. And if it does inevitably roll down to 5, I'd probably go Villa.
Yeah, that's a shout.
They would be my 3 at this point in time. I don't know if that lines up with my predictions at all from when we did them, but they would be my 3 right now. What about, are you back with us, Stocks?
No.
Don't know. There's movement. The lights are on, but no one's on.
Mate.
Huh?
That's what I get for putting West Ham.
Yeah, exactly. It's so true. It's so true. You was right earlier.
Yeah, we could hear you clear as day until the shirt came out. No, we lost him. I think we might have slightly.
What's happened again? What the hell is going on?
What?
Yeah, he's gone again. Right, Samir, your 3 to fill out the final 3 spaces in that top 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go City. I'll go you 4th. Yeah, I'll go you 4th. Even though I don't want that, I want you to pop off so bad. You 4th. I'll go Chelsea 5th because I can see them just getting these results against like the likes of Leicester. If they still got to face them, and Southampton, and these small results against like teams like that. Yeah, I'd say City, you, and Chelsea, and then Villa after that.
Fair enough, fair play.
Yeah.
All right, we'll roll into, even though Stock's not here, we'll roll into the main talking point of this evening.
Mm-hmm.
We've done half hour already, so that's crazy to be fair. But we're talking formations. I've tried to do it in order of when they were coming up to the present day. But first off, we're looking at the 1999 Champions League final. Manchester United against Bayern Munich. 4-4-2 against a 5-2-3, which could also drop into a 5-4-1, to be fair, quite often. We'll start with a 4-4-2. It's a formation we rarely see these days, but it's something that was used throughout the years for a very, very, very long time, and obviously had many benefits and a few flaws. That's why so many people used it. But why do you think so many sides have gone away from it? Might as well start with Samir on this one.
You know what? I used to question that. I don't know. I think the game evolved, didn't it? Like the number 10s are started to come in, and everyone's looking at Dennis Bergkamp, and then I think he was like an influence on a lot of people, and everyone saw in him falling into that 10, and then it became like the number 10 position, isn't it? So everyone's looking at it thinking, you know what, we don't need that 2 up front. We need that extra like player in midfield that could just like do a bit of magic. And yeah, I think that's where it all stemmed from, innit? I think most people looked at Dennis Bergkamp and thought, all right, cool, like, we need that type of player. And then it just started getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, you know, a lot of people stemmed away from that. I can't remember where it started from.
Before I come on to you, John, what I would say to that is the reason I went with this Man United team and no one before it is because of Teddy Sheringham.
100%.
Because when Sheringham came in as one of the front two, that's the role he did. But it was still a 4-4-2. He was just off of the front man. So he wasn't like, even Dennis Bergkamp, you call him he was a 10,
Second
but
striker.
he's not what you'd call a 10 today.
Yeah, no, he's like
he was more of he was what you'd call a second striker or a shadow striker these days. But because of the way he played, everybody called it the 10.
Yeah.
But let's roll on to John. What are your thoughts on it?
Very similar to what you just said, actually, because I think when you look at that, what United's front 4 options were, like in terms of like the strikers, you'd say York was kind of interchangeable with Sheringham. Cole was generally like the main guy, but I suppose you'd interchange him with Solskjaer if you had to.
Yeah.
And what York and Sheringham really used to do in this team is they drop in quite a bit, and they create a lot more space, because then actually there'd always be a bit more of an overload with like Neville. And I know that lineup doesn't show it, but I think where Keane was suspended and things like that, they had to shift things around a bit.
Yeah.
Keane and Scholes were out, weren't they?
Yeah, Keane and Scholes both missed it. I think Scholes was injured, Keane was suspended, I think.
Yeah, and I think what happened there is like normally that season, Beckham and Neville, there'd be a massive overload on that right hand side. And Neville used to get up quite a bit, and I think that's where a lot of particularly when you got like Dwight York and like the headed chances really came from. But I think the reason it's kind of been moved away from now is, I think like Samir kind of touched on, the game's become a lot more technical, and I think it's that extra presence in the middle of the park that you need. So people see using a second centre forward as a way of losing that battle.
Yeah. That's fair enough. I'd agree with a lot of the points against it, to be fair. You can look at it now when you overlay other formations over a 4-4-2. There's so many spaces in attacking areas that teams can exploit, which is why I think a lot of people have gone against it. And it's also a very hard job for a midfield 2 these days, because most teams play a 3 of some sort in some way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd agree with that. The bottom formation is pretty unique, to be fair, because I always looked at it back in the day as a 5-4-1. But as soon as I pulled up a graphic which showed the teams lined up next to each other, every single graphic has got it lined up exactly like this, as a 5-2-3, which I don't think you'll see anywhere at the minute, and I can't think of anybody else that even would have considered playing it. But it must have been effective, because Bayern Munich were a top side back then, and were minutes away from winning this game. The main thing I want to talk about here is the positioning of Lothar Matthäus. This is one thing that has.
Yeah, what the hell?
But that was the thing. That was a legit thing back in the day. He was a sweeper, but more of a, I think they called it a libero. He played behind the back line when defending, but when they had the ball, he could go and do whatever he wanted, basically, which was crazy. It's another unique thing that we've gone away from. I don't know if you remember many teams doing it, John.
Not a great deal, no. I was just wondering, like, if someone was to do this now, who's the type of player that would do it?
Ooh, that's a very hard one to answer.
It doesn't. No one jumps out, right?
Yeah, no one jumps out who could play that role at all. Do you know what? The one who I think in the modern game who would do it quite well is Rodri.
Okay.
Because he can do a little bit of everything, and he could potentially play in a back four if you needed him to, or even in a back five if you needed him to. So he's the one that sticks out. But it was a very odd position to have because Lothar Matthäus did it. I think Matthias Stammer did it for a bit. There was someone else that I know that I'm missing that played a similar role. That the sweeper when they didn't have the ball, but sort of went anywhere when they did. But yeah, it's a unique addition that only teams on the continent really did it. To be fair, we never really saw it over here. Probably a reason it didn't catch on. Takes a unique player to do it, as we've just can only think of one man that could probably do it in today's game. Let's roll on to the next one. Another slight variation of the 4-4-2, the diamond. We've seen England try it a few times, not to any real success. But AC Milan, this was a top AC Milan side.
Yeah, one of my favourites.
Yeah. It's a little bit similar to a formation we're going to look at in a little while, but I feel like you've got to have proper elite midfielders for this.
Woo.
Like top level across the board, and it's quite rotational. What would you say the pluses are of this one, Samir?
Just I'd say control midfield, the creativeness that they have as well. Strong defense. Honestly, defense is absolutely mad, and obviously one of the best strikers of all time, Shevchenko, and Inzaghi was just the most elite poacher of in world football. So yeah, like I said before, I think it's just the control in midfield. Like you got Polo in there, you got Serdov. Oh my day, like
Yeah.
it doesn't get any better than that. And you got this monster Gattuso as well. Like just you can't get any better than this. You can see why they won things. Honestly, you can see why there's just so
You
much
can see
strength all
why,
round.
but with the formation laid out how it is, for me, it just looks exposed in places. But
Yeah,
you have to
width
have
wise,
elite players in certain positions. Like you also had to have elite fullbacks for this, like proper top
yeah,
floor fullbacks that would get up, give you width. And
mm,
the two wider of the midfield men had a lot of work to do to cover
up and down,
ground.
yeah,
So they got wide, got back in when they
yeah.
didn't have it to get compact. So
They
yeah,
To be
had
fair,
legs.
the two there could do it.
They had
yeah,
legs.
they had the perfect team.
They
Perfect
had
team. One of
legs.
my favourite centre midfielders in there, Seedorf.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts on
honestly.
this one, John?
I wonder how interchangeable, sort of like what the movement would have been like in terms of like what Shevchenko and Rui Costa would have done. So I'd
Mm,
imagine Inzaghi. I'm not going to pretend I watch this team a great deal, right? But
Mhm.
I would not imagine that Inzaghi was doing anything there but being there to finish,
Nope.
essentially, right?
right.
He had the reputation he had for a reason.
Yeah.
Mm.
I wonder how Shevchenko and Rui Costa would have interchanged or whether they would have done. Did Shevchenko have a free role within that? Is it,
From what I remember of it, it's as much as it's a 4-4-2 diamond as it's probably called in most places. It was more of a 4-3-1-2. So the front two played as a front two.
Mm.
yeah,
The midfield three was a little bit flatter than we're seeing on the screen, and probably it was Seedorf and Gattuso coming back ever so slightly rather than
Yeah,
Pirlo going forward ever so slightly.
yeah,
And Rui Costa was a proper number 10. And he probably did interchange with Shevchenko at times, maybe even Seedorf at times, to be fair.
mm.
Yeah, it was definitely more of a 4-3-1-2, which was a formation I absolutely loved playing in. But again, you have to have legs
You got Alex.
because you've got to
Got
cover so much ground as one of their
yeah,
wide midfielders.
so
hundred
which
percent.
player are you replacing in that 11?
Which player? What was that?
Which player are you playing as in that 11 then? So like, who are you coming in for?
Oh, I would normally have been Seedorf. I
Was
would
that less?
normally have been there in a 4-3-1-2. That's where. Well, to be fair, when the first few times I played it, I was up front, so
Mm.
I had one of the easier roles. But later on, when I was actually playing midfield, I would have been Seedorf because I
Yeah,
was the legs that could get around pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a lot of work. It's a stupid amount of work. I would have hated to have played fullback in this formation, to be fair.
Honestly, you gotta get up and down. All
Up
right.
and down, you're constantly 1-on-1 with a winger. If
Yeah,
the midfielder doesn't do his job, sometimes you're 2-on-1 with the fullback and the winger.
exactly.
It's a difficult one.
Mm.
Difficult one.
I do like this
Right,
formation.
let's roll on.
Oh god.
Roll on. So I'll start with you on this one, John. It's not set up how I wanted it to look. I wanted this to look more
Yeah.
4-2-3-1, but I felt that this image that we've got sort of shows why we called it the Makalele role for such a long
Yeah.
time before it emerged into the DM, because he was the first real DM.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was the DM, and he was unbelievable at it. People started trying to call it the Kante role, but he was a much different type of player to Makalele.
Mm.
But what are your thoughts on this system, John? This is one of my favourites of all time, to be fair. I love this system.
See, I remember this being it was more seen as a 4-3-3 that became 4-3-3 when you were in possession. But it was more of like set up as a 4-5-1 that was there to counter attack. But then once you won possession, it sort of became a 4-3-3, largely due to what sort of like Duff, Robin, Joe Cole, like whoever would do. I don't know if I'm misremembering that, but I want, yeah.
For my memory of it, Lampard was more central.
Yes.
He played central and high up, which always made me think it was a 4-2-3-1. But then I also remember Makalele just being the lone holder.
Just sitting in front. Yeah, he didn't move. He didn't move. Like he was right in front of the defense, and I think that role nowadays, like you said, it's not there anymore. Just sitting in front of the defense. I'm not going anywhere. I'm protecting these lot.
Well, Rodri does it, doesn't he?
No, but Rodri gets up. Rodri gets up.
Rodri gets up, but Rodri only gets up because Man City, when they're on form, their back four, like their deepest defender is on the attacking side of the centre circle. So Rodri has to be up. He's got nowhere else to be.
But there we go. We haven't really seen Rodri in that role. Like,
no, but that's what he does when they haven't got the ball and they're defending. That is Rodri's role. He shields the back four better than any other player in world football today, and plugs them gaps.
Well,
he's unbelievable there, which is why they're rubbish now.
Yeah, of course. As soon as he got injured, they dropped off completely. Like he's the best player. That's why he's the best player in the world. But going back to this role, I think Lampard used to always he was like you said, he was in centre mid, but he would roam, innit? He would almost look like a number 10 at times. But then he could get back as well into that centre mid with Essien.
Yeah.
And then was it Essien at the time?
Huh?
Yep.
Essien,
was it Essien?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I'm trying to think with Robin and Duff. I don't remember it being Essien, but if it was Essien, then yeah. But then you had Robin and and Damien Duff. Were they the first to have that? What foot was Damien Duff? He was right footed, wasn't he?
Left footed. He was left footed.
Oh, he was left footed. Oh, I was about to say I thought he was right footed.
I know what you mean. Robin was kind of one of the first. That inverted sort of thing going on.
Yeah, inverted. Yeah, I was about to say I thought Damien Duff was right footed on the other side, but yeah, I was about to say them two were the first to kind of start that. No,
and I think it was Joe Cole though. So if Joe played on the left, then it was definitely more.
Yes, he did. See, I think Chelsea were the first to kind of start that, innit? Because that was before Messi.
I think this was the first of quite a few things we'd seen over here. Other teams had done it on the continent, but I think this was the first of sort of the hybrid formations that we saw. Like John touched on it earlier. When they were defending, it was very much 4-5-1.
Yeah.
And then when they were attacking, it was Duff or Cole went, Robin went, and Lampard
went, yeah.
And Makalele was always sat, and then Essien joined when he knew he could.
Yeah.
And it was the first time we kind of seen that kind of formation with two different formations in the same formation.
Yeah.
Because most teams either played 4-4-2 in and out of the ball, or whatever formation they played when they had it and when they didn't have it. But Chelsea played it one when they didn't and one when they did. But yeah, I think
saying how few goals they conceded as well playing like this.
Crazy. It was 15 or something like that. Their best season, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, that was Carlo. So that was before. But they might have conceded less than, I mean, not less, but like similar to that. But I think Carlo Ancelotti had the 15.
Was it not Mourinho?
No, it's Carlo
I thought it was
Ancelotti.
Jose.
I always thought
No,
it was Jose as well.
I'm sure it's Carlo Ancelotti.
I'll have a little Google.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to Google
Maybe
that as
both.
well.
Maybe both. But I'm sure it was Carlo Ancelotti.
Jose Mourinho's side.
Was it Jose
Yeah,
Mourinho?
15,
Yeah.
2004, 5.
It's this team, yeah.
Are you sure? But check Carlo. I'm sure Carlo had a record about conceding less goals. I'm sure he might have 15 as well. That might be wrong.
Don't know. Arsenal set the record of 17 in 98-99. Then this Chelsea side did it in 05-06.
And nothing else after that.
No, it says the three teams that have got closest to it are Man United in 07-08 and Liverpool in 18-19 that got 22.
Oh, that's weird. I thought it was Carlo Ancelotti, but yeah, that's even that says it all then with this team. I remember Gallas playing. Yeah, Gallas played a lot at left back, innit?
Yeah. Because Ferreira was normally the main starter at right back.
Yeah. So he was on like it shows here. Gallas was actually on either side, but I'm sure he mostly did play left back, and I don't remember him getting forward too much.
Neither. So this when Jose first came over, it was the fullbacks, basically the whole back four, unless it was a corner, never left their own half.
Yeah, they never. Yeah,
it was like there was an invisible wall, and they just didn't go past the halfway line, and that is how it was.
And that's such a Jose Mourinho team. That is,
it is. That back five stayed in that pretty much exact position.
never moved
at all times. They just shuffled forward and back up to the halfway line and back, and that was it.
Going back to what I said earlier, I'm pretty sure when they lost the ball, Lampard and Essien, Duff and Robin will just almost become a flat four themselves.
Yeah, they
had possession back.
It sort of looked more like a 4-1-4 with then Drogba up front. So yeah, very, very unique, very successful formation for Jose. I feel like the next sort of adaptation away from this and what would be a 4-2-3-1. I couldn't think of a team that epitomised the 4-2-3-1 amazingly. So I moved on to the 4-3-3, which I think this team or in and around this team is probably the team that's done it best in the Premier League.
Yeah, I'm trying to think in my head, but I can't really think of a team.
You've got a flat back four. You've got a very active three in midfield that can rotate quite a lot. You've got front man. This is probably the start of front men that they weren't really there to score goals. They were there to create space for the two guys next to him who would then score goals. And I think that was the first time we've really seen that anywhere in world football, not even just over here. This is I believe this is Klopp's team. Must be Klopp's team because
it's definitely Klopp's team.
So, and he also brought in the style of press everything, press at all times, press from all angles, run yourself into the ground week in, week out type of football, rock and roll football as people like.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? We'll start with John on this one.
Yeah, that three in midfield is the key to it because the energy that it brings. I think because obviously Robertson or Alexander Arnold, like either one of those is going to bomb up and get forward, but your midfield needed to know like when to drop in.
Yeah.
So they had to cover a lot of ground in order to let that work. Firmino was absolutely phenomenal in that role. I'm not sure I can think of it. Like it's kind of akin to what we said about like Sheringham and that the dropping in, but I don't think you could have had two people better than Salah and Mane alongside to be pushing into those spaces that he was leaving.
Yeah.
Unbelievable football team, really.
Yeah, it's crazy what he did with his team. What are you thinking of it, Samir?
Oh, mate, yeah. I think it all starts from that midfield three, to be fair with you. I think they set up everything going forward and defensively. I remember for Fabinho, I was saying there weren't too many people that was used to sit in front of like the back four, but I remember Fabinho was doing it a lot, to be fair, and he was very, very good at it. And and he had a good pass on him as well. But yeah, just how Mane and Salah used to just tear it up. Like it was pretty much a perfect formation for them. I'll give it to Klopp with that, because you had Robertson, you had Trent overlapping crosses for a time. I think a little bit of that died. The whole wing back crossing and stuff. I felt like a lot of teams wanted to just like play it into the like what's the expressions for it? Flipping what Arsenal love to do, flipping pass it into the net. That's it.
Oh,
I think a lot of teams like started to go like that. So everyone was taking out the crossing a bit, and I think Trent and Robertson brought it back. I used to watch like Liverpool and think, oh, fuck's sake, here you go, cross again, cross again, cross again, because all of that was like taken out of football. And I think they kind of brought it back, because you had Trent and Robinson who were like top assist or something
yes,
with yeah, like with just crosses. And I thought, yeah, this team, like you said, rock and roll football you couldn't keep up at one point. You couldn't keep up. They were just everywhere.
yes,
Like you said, with the whole press and just like the football was quick as hell. Like they were everywhere, all over that pitch, man. You couldn't stop Liverpool. You couldn't
yeah,
stop that.
And I think the fullbacks offer quite a different range of passing as well.
Yeah, especially
Like
Trent as well.
Robertson was, I guess, your more traditional sort of like get to the byline cross.
Yeah,
Trent could literally just pick
from
short
anywhere.
passing,
Yeah,
yeah, like in behind.
it was
like
almost like
David Beckham in a fullback.
just about to say that. I
Yeah,
was just about to say that. It was David Beckham in fullback. Man. It was just it was annoying to watch, but like every time he pulled it off, he was just like, wow, like this team was literally a rock and roll team. You could never do that nowadays again.
I reckon you could recreate it, but it takes a very unique midfield
So,
because you've got Jordan Henderson that started his career as fullback, moved on to the wing,
mm,
and then ended up more of a sitter in his latter days. James Milner that is like a Swiss Army knife, can play wherever you want him to play, he can do
every
whatever role.
yeah,
And then you've got Gini Wijnaldum who could do the deepest role, could do an
of
8.
course,
He could play 10. He liked running on beyond when he was at Newcastle scoring
yeah,
goals. So you had 3 midfielders that could all play 3 or 4 different roles. So when one of the fullbacks went, there was always a shuffle to fill the
mm,
gap. And they always knew what the shuffle was, where regardless of where they were, whether it was Henderson drops in at fullback, maybe Henderson drops into centre back because that's the closest one, and then one of
yeah,
the centre backs goes round into fullback and stuff like that. I think that was
mm,
what was so unique about this formation, was that it was so fluid, because Firmino could drop in and get the ball, but then all
yeah,
of a sudden Gini Wijnaldum's gone on beyond him, and
yeah,
he's filled that space that the defender follows Firmino and
mm,
Wijnaldum fills the space, and that was what was so unique about this
yeah.
formation.
You think about it now, that's some genius stuff, honestly.
It is,
Like
it is. But
you
football's
think,
done like that these days. There's so like the finer details are the things that really win the football matches now.
of
Whereas
course,
before it was my formation against your formation,
yeah.
and you kind of half relied on player brilliance to do the rest, because there
But
wasn't
that's
all of these little details with things.
but that's what I feel like this going back to. It's not they're not doing this anymore. We're going back to my formation versus your formation.
Nah,
In a sense.
there's so many little nuances and little tweaks that these top level managers do these days that you could never ever go back to it, because you just get, like we were speaking about Amarim earlier.
Mm.
That's what he's trying to do.
He's doing something different.
He's ignoring everything and
Everything
saying
else.
my formation is going to beat every other formation in this league,
Yeah.
and he's not taking into account all of the other things that come with it. Like, it
Mm.
was brilliant at Sporting, I get that, and he beat Man City with it, and he did all these things with it,
Mm.
but that was a completely different team to what he's doing now, in a completely different league as well, by the way.
Exactly. Yeah.
One-off
100%.
games in
I
the
think you,
Champions League are all well and good. Winning them's fine, but it's a cup competition. It's not a league. It's not, you don't come up against these teams every single week. And the
Exactly.
Premier League is a completely different beast to Portuguese
Mm.
league.
I think you've kind of touched upon what separates a top level manager from sort of one that we've just been describing, like someone that just wants to stick to one particular principle.
Mm.
Um, the the top managers are the ones that can make the tweaks or the finer details and so on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And they can kind of see the flaws in any other system, but they also understand the flaws in theirs. So they make sure that
It doesn't happen.
the
Yeah.
flaws in theirs don't cause them to lose football matches.
Yeah.
And some that's where you separate like the really good managers from the top elite ones, because really good manager will have a formation, but he won't concentrate on the floor,
Mm.
and that's where you get beat.
Yeah.
It becomes a major problem.
Yeah, but what a team this was, man. Honestly,
Brilliant, brilliant,
from
brilliant.
start
Like,
to finish,
the
yeah.
only reason that they didn't end up with loads of Premier League titles is because of this
This
team and
man,
Pep
this man,
Guardiola.
yeah, yeah.
So in essence, what we're looking at is what they call a box midfield.
Mm.
But the reality of this formation is, out of the ball, if they didn't have the ball for long periods of time, it would be a 4-3-3.
Yeah,
But Pep's come in, and this is where we started to see defenders. I'm not going to say fullbacks because he didn't always use the fullback to do it. A defender goes into the midfield and joins to create a little box.
he's a genius.
It's another genius move.
Yes, yeah.
I didn't get it when it first started happening, because
So did I.
why put a defender in central midfield when you can just have another centre midfielder was always my fault. But
Yeah,
it's Pep, and he's won stupid amounts with it.
that's how he won the Champions League.
Huh?
That's how he won the Champions League.
Yeah,
This,
this is
this
how he's won everything that he's won, by creating overloads in midfield
Mm.
to dominate the ball and to dominate possession and to win the ball back as quick as you possibly can.
I think also it was a way of nullifying press. I
Yeah,
think he did, like, this was at a time where pressing was such a huge thing in
yeah,
football, and I think that box was
it
almost just a
doesn't get
brilliant way of being able to
yeah,
outmaneuver a press.
yeah,
exactly.
because
Doesn't
your
get
defenders had more options to get the ball into midfield, where you've got the extra man, and once you're out type of thing, because you've got the front three would press the back three, as we're looking at now. Once it
Mm.
goes into midfield, you've got 4-on-3, and then that's where the problems come for the team trying to press.
I used to look at this when he was first doing it. I'll never forget. I was looking at it. I was thinking, all right, he's just left three at the back, and then I used to think, all right, this is risky. Like he was playing risky football. So because if anyone was to just hit it on their counter attack, it's just going to be just the three at the back. But like you said, it's like John Stones comes back. It goes into a 4-3-3. Like John Stones drops back into his natural role, and you got Rodri that drops back as well. Like it's a genius move. I'm telling you that right now. At the beginning, like I said, I used to think, what, like this ain't gonna work. And he went all the way to the Champions League final with it, and I thought, nah. And then I think a lot of teams tried to do it, but they couldn't. They couldn't really figure it out. So it's just back to normal again. But this
I think
formation, here,
some,
go on, John.
sorry, I was going to say, I think some of the reason, because I know what you mean, everyone's tried to do this at some point.
Mm,
It really comes down to how comfortable you are on the ball. And the
yes,
reality is, man, you're not going to have four players that can play in that sort of that double pivot,
mm,
and you can be as comfortable on the ball and be able to find space and be calm and collected. Don't mind taking the ball with their back to the play and so on, and still
yeah,
make things happen. And
mm,
not it's a very very select few players in world football that can do that consistently.
yeah,
And I would up your 4-7, to be honest, John, because the
Yeah,
back three also need to be very comfortable under big pressure and also be able to find the pass when it appears.
yeah,
So it's a tough one to play, and like Samir said, a lot of teams have. Even Arsenal do it at times. When Lewis Skelly's playing, you
yeah,
see him invert a lot.
okay,
Sometimes Trippier does it for us.
yeah.
A lot of teams have now taken aboard the inverting to
That
get
whole
the
environment,
overload in midfield, but they only do it in brief spells. Whereas it was a very prominent tactic that Pep used quite a lot, and
mm,
it probably is another formation that needs proper elite players, like we were saying with the 4-4-2 diamond,
mm,
because now Rodri's out and
yeah,
Stones is not
out,
in form and injured quite a lot.
mm,
Doesn't work, and we've
yeah,
seen it doesn't work. It doesn't even work. It works to a decent level,
mm,
but it doesn't work to the level it was when they had them
before,
two playing.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
Like it was weird as well because he's got four centre backs, and that's what he started that whole having like four centre backs at the back as well. He started that whole formation. It's just so flipping weird, honestly.
But
I
it's
don't
all
get
smoke and mirrors, that kind of thing, because you get 4 ball playing
smoke.
centre backs,
Yeah,
and
smoke.
you line them up in a back four. You
I
see
was
the
gonna say
names on the team sheet.
yeah,
At no point can the opposing manager know which one is going to invert that day.
exactly. He was a genius at that.
Yeah.
You're
So the
questioning.
only one of these defenders that's not going to invert is Diaz.
Yes.
Other than that, all the others have done it at times. Stones has done it more than anybody else, but all
Akanji
the
has.
others have done it in
Yeah.
periods, which is what makes it such a genius move, because you
Yeah.
can switch it about so much to get the advantage to whatever suits you during the game.
Yeah. Yeah, very true.
Ridiculous from Pep, to be fair.
Honestly, I'm just looking at it now thinking, how the hell did he come up with this, man? Like how? He just keeps changing. He keeps changing the game, and it's like, yeah, this whole new inverted stuff. It's like, oh, Pep does one thing, okay, we follow.
Yeah. Well, when you're working with elite players week in, week out, you can
Yeah.
try whatever you want to try,
Mm.
and you're quite likely to get a decent result out of it. Obviously, you wouldn't try it one off in a massive game against your rivals or anything like
Yeah.
that. But if you're working with the level of player he was at Barca and the level of player he was at Man City, when you're coming up against 50% of the league, you can try whatever you want, and you could probably still
Yeah.
go and win the game.
Yeah.
So he's been lucky in that sense, but it is also genius to think it up in the first place.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Ridiculous formation.
Right. Our last one for this evening. I was hoping Stocky was going to be back for this, because as much as I know the formation, I haven't watched that much of Inzaghi's Inter to talk through the downfalls and the benefits and how well they play this. This was the one I was going to fully roll over to Stocky,
Yeah,
to be fair. But essentially, it's a 3-5-2 that can drop back into a 5-3-2, I believe. And I believe these wing backs play very, very high up the pitch,
yeah.
similar to what Amarim is trying to do with his wing backs. But it's been successful. They've won the league with it. They go deep into the Champions League. It's a bit of a new take for a successful formation, because I can't think of many other teams that have played it and been very successful with it. Samir, I know you spoke about it a little bit when we were waiting. What are your thoughts on it? Because I can't say I've watched it that much.
I haven't watched them that much either, but I just remember, like, I only remember them from this season. Like, they're defensively sound, and like you said, their wing backs are always involved, like, because they're always high. Yeah, I've not really watched too much of them, obviously, but I look at the back three. The back three is solid. Though
Yeah.
you got the wing backs. The wing backs are solid. You got Barella. Barella's flip. He's an absolute baller. Mkhitaryan's come back to life a bit. I don't know where, I don't know how, but he's come back to life a bit.
Until I saw this graphic, I didn't even know where he was.
I don't know how he's done it, but it's like when you wanna, like, get your career back, you go to Inter. Like, it's happened to Lukaku, it's happened to Alexis Sanchez, it's happened to a few players, to be fair. They've gone to Inter to get their career back. Look, we've got Damian there. Damian, like, that just says everything. But yeah, I can't really talk too much on the formation, but I can talk on the players. I thought Martinez he's class when it comes to Inter Milan. Like, was talking about it with Stocks earlier, but he was saying about how, like, everyone in Italy love him, but everyone outside of Italy, like, thinks he's shit. And I think that's obviously because of, like, international football. I don't really think international football is the greatest anyway, so it's all about club football. And I think he's one of the best strikers in the world at the moment. Year in, year out, it's consistent.
Yeah.
They've got Thuram ain't the best. Thuram is not the best, but he's a workhorse. He'll be about the pitch. But obviously it says Jacko there, but this season and last season I think it was Thuram.
Yeah, this is from 2 seasons ago, because we've got Onana in goal as well. So this is slightly different to what they won the league with and what they play with now.
Yeah.
In fact, let me see if I can pull up Inter's.
There's one player I want to talk about, though. Like, because I've heard a lot, and I don't know if you lot have seen too much of him, but Bastoni,
Yeah.
like, there's been talks about how he is like an elite centre back and like one of the best in the world. I don't know if you lot have seen too much of him to really say that he is elite.
He looks to have all of the attributes you need to be an elite centre back,
Yeah,
but you say that from week in week out in Italy.
yeah,
It's if you look at the history of Italian players, full stop, coming over to England,
I was just about to say that. Yeah,
it doesn't
it's not good.
really translate great.
Yeah,
Like you don't loads of the big names don't do it, but
yeah,
the players that have, there's a high volume. Like you get players like Aquilani that had a great career in Italy, but was rubbish when he came
went
over.
to Liverpool. Yeah,
And
Chiesa's a current example.
yeah,
he,
He's
Jesus
not
was
really like
great.
been able to break into that team.
yeah,
Like we've had a few that have come over. You've had your Vialis, you've had your Zolas, you've
yeah,
got Tonali who's doing it quite well at the minute, but you can't reel off a whole list of names because I don't
yeah.
think it translates as well because the speed of the game and the way they set up tactically is very, very different.
Mm,
But
So
I do
yeah,
think this system is quite mind blowing for Italian football in a way because I think both of those fullbacks, whoever you're playing it, you basically need a couple of Duracell bunnies,
yeah,
and I don't think that's something that you get a lot of in Italian football.
yeah,
And I think that really just relies on having three guys in the centre
mm,
who are technically quite good, who are going to find space very quickly.
yeah.
And if you've got that and you've got fullbacks that can get up and down, this will probably cause mayhem.
Yeah, I
yeah,
think he does as well. To be fair, yeah,
100%
yeah,
it does. 100% it does. See, I'm looking at their team from yesterday now. So
mm,
their back three, the two on the left are still the same.
mm,
Bastoni's still there. Acerbi, I think is how you pronounce that.
yeah,
Benjamin Pavard played on the right.
mm,
And then Dumfries is still there. Nicola Barella's still there. Then they've got Aslani and Mkhitaryan's still there. And DeMarco's still there as well. And then you've got Lacharo up front with Correa.
yeah. It's probably because it's
So
Turan.
it's a slight change.
Yeah,
Hakan Kashlu did come on, so that's still the same. And Damian came on as well. So there's not massive changes.
mm, yeah. Wait, who was the strikers again?
Lataro's still there.
Lautaro,
And then
yeah.
Correa, Jacqueline Correa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Signed him
he
from
played
Leicester.
45, and then Tarimi came on.
Mm. Yeah, Turan must be injured, but yeah, it's pretty much similar, isn't it?
Very similar side. 80% of the teams are exactly the same.
Same.
Different keeper. One of the centre backs is different,
Mm,
and then one of the midfielders and one of the strikers. So one player in each position is basically different. So,
yeah.
but yeah, it's an interesting formation. I don't think it's one. Well, as we're kind of seeing with Man United, I don't think it's one that works over here.
Might have to get Stocky to give us a deep dive
Yeah, because
Yeah,
next time.
West Ham played something similar yesterday. I think West Ham played something similar yesterday, but I don't know if the wing backs got as higher. I can't remember too much. But Wan-Bissaka did, but I can't remember who their left wing back was. But I think West Ham played something similar, and that is basically having two centre backs, but three centre backs, sorry, but one of them is a fullback, like they have with Damian. I don't know how teams do that. They put like a wing back into like the centre back role, like in a back three.
Oh, what they put? Yeah, quite a lot of teams that play a back three now. One of the wide centre backs is a fullback.
Yeah, I think
Man
you've
City
done.
did it with Carl Walker when you were going into a
Oh
three.
yes, yeah.
West
England.
Ham must have done it yesterday with probably Cresswell because they played
Yeah,
Cresswell and that young lad, didn't they?
yeah. It was Cresswell at one of the back, the three.
Yeah, so he would have been left centre back, and the
Yeah,
Oscar Scarles, I think his name would have played
yeah.
wing back. Then
I
wasn't there more of a 4-5-1 though? I mean 5-4-1.
I can't remember too much. I just remember seeing the lineup on the phone because I don't remember just like you said. I don't remember Skulls getting up too much, but Wan-Bissaka was getting
Yeah,
forward. But
Wan-Bissaka would have done. But looking at their team, it was either a 5-4-1, a weird 5-4-1, or a
mm,
5-3-2.
yeah,
Because they've got Kudos and Bowen up top, but then they've got a midfield of Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, and Suchek. So I don't know who would have gone wide if it was a 4.
Mm. Yeah.
So
again, we need stocks.
yeah, we definitely needed stocks for this one. Unfortunately, his internet, he dropped me a message saying his internet is fucked basically, and he's fuming. So
No, I get it.
it's not great, but it would have been good to have him for this one because this was definitely this was one of his suggestions as well of different formations. But boys, out of the ones we've spoken about, if you had to pick one, you're managing a side, you're putting together your philosophy to put to a board. What formation are you going with?
In this
I'm
day and age,
tempted to say Klopp's 4-3-3.
clubs.
You've got
Oh,
a very specific personnel for it, but yeah, that's the one I'd be tempted to go with.
So John's going on a clock 4-3-3. Is this something you'd like to play at Southampton, John? Is this something you'd like to see done?
I'd just like to play football, to be honest with you. I mean, let's not even worry about numbers and. No, I think in terms of going back to that very briefly, I think with us, we just sort of need to go down and have an exorcism and not come straight back up. We need to be down for a couple of years. I'd quite like to see there's a lot that's still there from the first time we went down. And instead of rewarding them with new contracts, let's bin it off, start again, be a bit more patient. We don't have to come straight back up. Anyway, go back to the question you asked. Yeah, that would be my answer.
Yeah.
Fair enough. What about you, Samir?
I might go Chelsea 4-2-3-1. Chelsea's one.
Chelsea are there. So
Yeah.
this kind of formation.
Yeah. Definitely.
Nice. Both are. I can't even choose. When we started, I would have probably gone the same 4-2-3-1. I'm torn massively now.
You want the sweeper, innit? You want Bayern.
I want to bring back the libero.
Why not? Why
the
not, man?
sweeper that just joins in play for no reason.
Someone's gonna do it. I would
probably go for something like this.
Yeah.
Because the more I look at it and the more I talk about it, the more I can see the benefits of combating other systems. Because you can adapt it so many ways that no matter what you come up against or whatever you're coming up against in games, you can adapt the system to get the game under control again more.
Yeah.
And I feel that's why I'm sticking with this one. The 4-2-3-1 is my favourite formation to play in. It was my favourite formation to play as a manager as well.
Yeah.
But if I had a top elite level team that I could drill it into of how to play, I would probably go for this.
Yeah.
If I was taking over a side tomorrow that played on Sunday afternoons or Saturday afternoons,
it would be this.
It would be the 4-2-3-1 because it's something you don't like. Everybody knows the system. You can pick your players to suit unless I didn't have the players to suit the system, obviously. But this would be what I'd go with because I think it beats most formations out there when you haven't got time to drill everything into the players.
Yeah, I want to go back to them days where you just have a solid defense. 15 goals conceded. Also, no one gets past the halfway line. Like now, everyone's dribbling and flipping. Everyone's on the edge of all the centre backs are on the edge of the box and stuff like that. Nah, I just want a solid back four, a DM in front. No one move. No one move. No overlaps. No nothing. Let the wingers
you want the Saints job?
Yeah.
I'd be happy to concede just 15 goals a month at this rate.
Oh, quality. Right. We spoke about favourite formation. I'm going to do one more spin-off question before we go. If you had to pick one of these teams to win you a game of football against to win a tournament of all the other teams in it, which team are you picking? We can flick through them again if you want to see the teams.
Let's go through them again. We need to go through them again.
So we've got United. In fact, I will give you not just the team you're seeing on the screen. So as you United 99, you can throw in Scholes and Keane as well.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Next. I'm not taking them. Ooh. Yeah.
So this is we're picking a team to win a
Yeah.
game. It doesn't have to be in the same formation. So you can
But
take the
this
team and play a
actual
different
team,
formation if you want. It's just what team would you take?
it might be this Milan team or the Chelsea.
That's Milan. Then we've got
Yeah.
Chelsea.
Yeah, it might be Milan or Chelsea.
I think it's Chelsea for me.
Yeah.
Then we've got
Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Shit, it might be Liverpool.
the brilliant Man City.
I think Liverpool would beat this team.
Whoa,
I
they
don't.
They didn't come up.
If it's
They
the
didn't
next
come up.
one, I don't.
well, they didn't.
They didn't come up against this formation.
Huh?
They didn't come up against that
It would have
last.
been similar. It would have been quite similar because
Not the whole inverted thing.
no, because that Liverpool team played against Man City before Cancelo left the Premier League, and Cancelo
Yeah.
inverted.
Oh yeah, he did invert, innit?
So they would have played a very similar system at the time. It wouldn't have been
Yeah.
exact. I
They
don't
wouldn't have
think
been
we weren't calling it a box midfield at the time.
Yeah. Nah, not them.
All right, so Inter are out. We're ruling out both teams from '99.
Yeah, we're gonna rule them out.
So we're down to the middle four. We've got that ridiculously good.
Exactly. You just sold it for me. Ridiculously good.
Then
This is just strength.
you follow it on with that.
That's strength.
Then you've just got a powerhouse going forward.
Yeah. Rock and roll.
For this is more pure genius from Pep, I think, than man for man, the best team you're going to look at. I think that defense can be got at a bit more.
I think it can. That's what I mean. Yeah. I
think
that's why I go Chelsea because I feel like that's just a unit.
Oh yeah. That attack plus Drogba's strength.
I would go here.
I was gonna. Oh nah. I'm torn between Chelsea and Liverpool. Against City, or you're just saying
this is the if I had to pick 11 players
to win your game, yeah.
These are the players. This is the team I'd go with.
I'll go Liverpool.
I'd probably set up like this though. I'd probably set up like this, but with the AC Milan team.
I don't know. I think that rock and roll team was just. I keep calling them the rock and roll team, but it's like I said, they were everywhere.
Yeah,
literally everywhere. You couldn't keep up with them.
But for me, I would back this back four to have enough to deal with the front three, but my midfield to take over the midfield.
Oh shit! I didn't think of that. I didn't think of that one.
That's the way I'd see the game.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
It's just this midfield. I'm a big fan of your midfield controlling the game, and for me, this midfield is a joke.
It's the most key part of the whole formation.
And they're two of the best centre backs we've ever seen as well, by the way.
Oh yeah, you're selling it for me because this is one of my favorite like AC Milan teams. I remember I used to always follow them like when they had this team. When everyone left, I just didn't like AC Milan anymore. But like you said, they've got the two. You put Cafu in there.
I'm sure they had another centre back because I'm sure Maldini was more of a left back, but
another centre back.
But yeah, I would take that. That's what I would take. John, what are you saying?
I'm still going Chelsea. Did you say to win a one-off game?
One-off game. It's Champions League final.
A Champions League final?
Yeah, I think this Chelsea team can do it.
That's the only reason we're going to get any of these three teams to play each other. So it's got to be Champions League final.
All right. Yeah, I'm going Liverpool. Champions League final, definitely Liverpool.
Sweet.
I suppose they're proven.
Yeah.
Well, all of these teams have won Champions Leagues, to be fair, haven't they? Didn't
Chelsea, maybe my nostalgia is telling me Chelsea, but
Chelsea didn't. Not this Chelsea team.
Drogba won a Champions League, though, didn't he? So the majority of the team.
2012, though. It was long after this.
Oh.
I think the only one who won it was Drogba, Lampard, and Terry in that team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Fair play. We've gone for 3 different teams.
Yeah, we have.
A decent chat on formations. Unfortunately, Stocky wasn't here because we've both managed sides, and Stocky was very I would say he's probably more of the nuances to the formation rather than just picking the system kind of guy. Over what I was, I would pick a system and Stocky would add nuances to it that made it even better. So
It's the
it's
lack of
annoying.
follicles on top, isn't it? It's like all the pet similarities.
What was that?
The lack of follicles on top, isn't it? It's all in pet similarities.
Yeah, it would have been good to have his take on stuff, but maybe we'll have to do another one another time to get views because
Come on, there is more formations out there, isn't it?
Oh yeah, there's loads.
But
We can just pick. I'll just do the same again. I'll just pick
part
successful
two,
teams
innit?
and we'll talk through it.
Yeah.
Same as the Mavericks last week. We need a part 2 because there's so many more to talk about.
Yeah.
But boys, again, it's been an absolute pleasure. Fantastic show. Thank you for joining us.
100%.
Really has, man.
Cheers, guys.
You can catch me and hopefully Stocky's got his technical issues sorted out tomorrow evening, Monday pitch, SpursKingsTV. But if not, see you next week.